Okay, one interesting thing from the information we got through Spatial Program back then. We learned that later in 3.4 there will be several old characters that will get a revamp or buff on the kit. Yes, as we all know, this aims to make the old version of characters reusable for the current meta. So in this video, I will discuss several characters that are rumored to be getting a revamp or buff in the upcoming version 3.4, namely Blade, Jingliu, Kafka, and also Silver Wolf. These characters will get changes, whether it's from the basic kit, gameplay mechanics, and changes in skill types or ultimate. And I know, most of you, especially those of you who have these characters, will be happy with this buff news, right? So, without further ado, I'm Hoyostation and we will jump right into the video. Let's do this. Before we continue the video, I want to tell you some super important information that you should know, guys. It's about Top Up Live. Top Up Live is a trusted top-up service offering a variety of your favorite top games such as Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero. As a global platform, Top Up Live offers a variety of popular local and international live streaming and game top-ups. Game cards, gift cards, and game CD keys with digital catalog has over 3,000 game channels. Supported by 70 international partners and more than 126 gaming communities worldwide. Of course, Top Up Live also offers the best prices up to 25% off, which means you can get much cheaper prices than you can get today. Still not enough, you can enter the promo code at the time of purchase and get an additional sweet 8% discount. Still not sure about Top Up Live? Do not worry, Top Up Live is a leading global brand with over 10 years of experience specializing in providing online game stores and distribution platforms for live streamers, gamers, game developers, and publishers. Of course, it's 100% legit. So what are you waiting for? Start using Top Up Live right now. Okay, first we will discuss in full about the buff and revamp of Blade. Interestingly, Blade will undergo quite significant changes, guys, both in his basic kit and his talents. For the basic kit itself, Blade, which used to have multi-scaling against attack and also HP, will be changed to completely HP alone. Honestly, this is a good thing because we can focus on finding the HP stat. Yep, this character will be very similar to Mighty and Castris, who have full scaling towards maximum HP. However, unlike Mighty, who can provide active taunt quite consistently to the enemy through his ultimate, Blade cannot provide taunt in any way to the enemy. Therefore, later Blade will get an increased taunt value, which is said to increase the chance of him being attacked by the enemy, which will make the follow-up attack from his talent trigger more often. In addition, there is still one more buff that is planned to be given by Hoyoverse, namely the optimization of the Blade's follow-up attack mechanic. Indeed, until now we don't know clearly about what mechanics will be changed, but I can predict that later the number of charges required will be reduced, or Blade himself can store excess charges from his follow-up attack, similar to Aventurin or Jade. So in conclusion, this buff for Blade will certainly make the damage output of the Blade itself increase quite significantly. Because as we know, the damage output of his enhanced basic attack as well as follow-up attack and ultimate is still quite low when compared to other DPS units. With this adjustment, we can focus on finding HP, critical weight, and critical damage stats without bothering about the attack stats at all. Automatically, with some changes that occur on Blade, there will be a very large overhaul in the build section, especially in the player ornament will also experience a slight change. Where the best player ornament used to use Rutil Arena, later the best set will fall to Bone Collection's Surrender-Misni, which is also used by the latest characters such as Tribi, Mighty, and Castris. Where this set will increase the user's maximum HP and provide an additional 28% critical damage if the user's maximum HP exceeds 5,000 points. Apart from the player ornament, of course we also need to overhaul some of the relic sets that we have worn, which originally we needed the attack status on the substat. Now we have to change the substat to another status so that Blade's performance is maximized. Oh yeah, in addition to the build that has changed a little, Blade himself will certainly have teammates who have also changed a little, such as the example of Robin, who is becoming unsuitable if used in the Blade team because her attack percentage buff is no longer relevant to the latest version of Blade. So characters like Hyacinth who can add maximum HP to teammates, then Tribi who is a very universal harmony character will certainly be the best teammates for Blade in the future. What do you think, guys? The next character to get a revamp or buff is Jingliu. Similar to Blade, she will get a revamp on her basic kit which will completely change from scaling attack percentage to scaling from maximum HP. Not only the basic kit, Jingliu's idol will also get adjustments because the idol itself still has additional damage that comes from Jingliu's attack. For example, her idol 1 named Moon Crasher's Tiangyuan Gate, which will increase Jingliu's critical damage when launching her ultimate or enhanced skill and provide additional ice damage of 100% of Jingliu's attack. This will certainly have a positive impact on Jingliu's overall kit. If you look at her talent called Crescent Transmigration, where when Jingliu has 2 ZZU stacks, she will enter Spectral Transmigration mode which will increase her attack. Since she will no longer use attack scaling, then this kit certainly has a high probability of experiencing changes as well. Now interestingly, from the beginning Jingliu already had a very big base HP, even greater than the base HP of Blade, which has HP and attack scaling at 1436 points. Of course, base HP of this size is greater than characters who have attack scaling in general. With this base kit change, automatically the build of Jingliu will change drastically, where previously we looked for the attack status through relics and also light cones, will change to maximum HP completely. The choice of light cone alone will experience many changes, but for her signature named I Shall Be My Own Sword, it will still match Jingliu even with the revamp, because this light cone will increase the user's critical damage as well as damage from attacks and also ignore the defense of the enemies. For the relic section itself, Jingliu has now switched to the Scholar Lost in Erudition, which will increase the critical rate and also skill damage of the user, because as we know, the main attack of Jingliu lies in her enhanced skill and also her ultimate. Besides that, her relic substat will experience a significant change because we will definitely look for HP more and no longer need for attack, unless Jingliu have an additional kit that allows her to convert attack into HP. Since she will use the same scaling with Blade, Jingliu also can use a planner that is widely used by characters with HP scaling, namely Bone Collection's Surrender Misni, which will provide an increase in maximum HP and also critical damage. As for the team itself, there will certainly be changes, one of which is Robin, who is no longer one of Jingliu's best supports. Because as we know, Robin's ultimate provides an attack boost that is no longer useful for Jingliu when she has a maximum HP scaling. As for teammates that can be paired with Jingliu after this revamp, there's Sunday, who is certainly very good at providing buffs to Jingliu. Then there's Tribi, who in addition to having a high maximum HP, also provides a universal buff in the form of additional damage received from enemies and also resistant penetration. In addition, Hyacinth can also be the sustained choice for Jingliu because Jingliu's own team is economical with skill points. Hyacinth can use her skills more often, and her ultimate will be very useful for providing additional maximum HP to teammates, which will automatically increase the damage from Jingliu's talent itself. We turn our attention to one of the characters that triumphed in her time, namely Kafka, who will also receive a buff in the upcoming version 3.4. According to rumors, Kafka will get 2 main changes that are quite significant, guys. The first one is in the talent section, where in the previous effect we had to use the basic attack first to trigger Kafka's follow-up attack. Now the effect will change, where the new changes we'll make is that all attacks from allies will be able to trigger the follow-up attack, not just from basic attack. In addition, the last follow-up attack will also trigger damage over time if it's launched at the enemy. The second change, which will also have a significant impact, is that Hoyoverse will be making adjustments to all Kafka kits and the percentages given. Now, the interesting thing about this change is that there's a possibility that some of the Kafka kits will experience adjustments either in terms of mechanics or damage percentage or other things. For the percentage itself, maybe later Kafka will have a percentage of damage to trigger damage over time on the enemy to be increased and adjusted to the current meta, because as we know, Kafka's main source of damage comes from damage over time, which she can do directly through her skills and ultimates. But currently, the damage is not strong enough to quickly defeat existing enemies. especially when the enemy gets a lot of HP inflation like today. Of course, to make this character back into the meta character list requires a lot of changes to her kit, and of course new characters that might improve the mechanics of damage over time itself. Although currently there's Black Swan, who is the best companion character for Kafka, I think it's still not enough, because these two characters are not strong enough to be able to compete with new characters that are released. Let's take an example like Castris. I hope Hoyoverse will provide suitable changes for this character. What do you think, guys? The last character to receive a buff in the upcoming 3.4 is Silver Wolf, who is also a member of the Stellar Hunters, along with Kafka and Blade. Later on, Silver Wolf will get some pretty significant changes, especially to her skills and ultimate. Okay, let's talk about the current skills first. In the previous version, the skill allow changes had a base chance of 85% to inflict one weakness type on one of the elements of a teammate in the field. This effect also reduces resistance damage against that element by 20%, which lasts for 2 turns. Now in the pre-revamp version, each enemy can only have a maximum of one weakness type that can be implanted by Silver Wolf. Quite unfortunate indeed, whereas in the latest version, when Silver Wolf uses this skill on the enemy, Silver Wolf gives the enemy all existing weakness types and reduces all type resistance against the enemy by 10%. Very interesting, right? Of course, in the current version, there are many limitations to this skill, especially in the type of attack in the form of a single target and also the amount of weakness that can be given to enemies that are limited to only one type. Well, with the changes that will be given to Silver Wolf later, it will certainly change this kit to be much more useful and optimal. Then for the second big change lies in the Silver Wolf ultimate called User Band, which later, the effect of this ultimate has a 100% base chance to reduce 45% defense of all enemies for 3 turns, and provide quantum damage to all enemies. Yes, this ultimate will change from single target to AoE, which means that this ultimate is similar to Pela's ultimate called Zone Separation, which will provide a 40% defense reduction to all enemies for 2 turns. For the build itself, much like Kafka, Silver Wolf has not seen many changes, but Silver Wolf still needs an effective rate at a certain number to ensure that her skills and ultimate provide in-plan weakness and debuffs. This can make her a consistent debuff provider, especially for certain teams like Akron. Silver Wolf's teammates' composition has not changed significantly either, but it will see some significant adjustments, especially if you pair Silver Wolf with Akron. With this kit, of course Pela's position will be permanently replaced, because Silver Wolf has a much better kit than Pela. What do you think, guys? Okay guys, maybe that's all for this video. Who do you think will make it back to the top in the next version of the meta? Please let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to check out my other videos because they are no less cool. Thanks for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video.